Gentlemen, ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened to you, said Jesus Christ to his disciples. These symbolic words of the sage of Judea are more a law than a maxim for the Freemasons, who pride themselves on professing the principles of the gospel. A law is binding, a maxim can be disputed, but by saying, ask and you will receive, Jesus Christ did not claim that one should give to those who were not worthy to receive. Seek and you will find, that one would go to meet the man who seeks dupes. Knock, and it will be opened to you, that hospitality be accorded without precaution and at random. The moral lesson of the man God teaches us that we must do good, but do it timely. That must be done properly. As a Christian, I give to those who are in misfortune or misery. I wait to judge with my reason first, and then my heart, what is expected of me. I grant hospitality to the lost or late traveler, and in this triple disposition I yield to the inspiration of the gospel. We have heard, gentlemen, your request. We lent ourselves to your search. We opened to you the moment you knocked. But you won't get any further if you don't answer our questions honestly. Do you ask for the path of virtue? Do you seek its temple? Do you strike to achieve it? For here we concern ourselves only with morality, and we reject vice or sterile curiosity. Friends, be frank. Enemies or censors, be frank again. Contempt attaches to false friendship. Esteem can exist between loyal enemies. Since you persist in your courageous enterprise and answer us as men of honor, we are going to cease a prudent reserve, listen, and judge. Much is said about the Masonic institution in the secular world, where, unknown, it is treated with great levity, if not great injustice. It is an insignificant institution, or a society of pleasure, or a dangerous political club, or finally an association of religious and moral perversity. Here is what we say and what you may have said yourselves. Human profane the ruthless mob. Speak and judge blindly, and condemn randomly. This insignificant institution derives from what the peoples of antiquity had most recommendable, initiation into the mysteries. It is the chain between past and present that makes them inseparable. This society of pleasure prescribes neither balls nor games, and forbids all kinds of debauchery. These dangerous political clubs are always in rank against discussions or political excursions. The ultracism of opinions, whatever they are, is severely rejected from our workshops. The simplest and most pacific discussions on publica affairs are on the field set aside, either by Masonic jurisprudence or by the good spirit of the brothers. This association of religious and moral perversity preaches tolerance for all religions, fidelity to all social commitments, respect for morals, love of humanity. In the face of this explanation, which is in every respect exact, fall the odious calumnies, the risky accusations, the insulting doubts. Wisdom is one in all times, and even today is wise who wants to be. The old initiates, men of science, of talent, of merit, walked firmly in the path of virtue. The Freemasons alone, among the members of modern secret associations, because they are without worldly interests, follow the path which, for having been cleared for a long time, is none the easier to follow. The terrain of the passions is fertile in asperities, in the reproduction of obstacles. Scarcely has the aspirant to wisdom taken a step, than the difficulties he has overcome are reborn for the aspirant who follows him and who finds the same brambles, the same thorns, the same obstacles, more numerous, often more difficult to overcome, perhaps. This is why the road, always beautiful in perspective, is so painful when we want to cross it. But once you have reached the end, you enjoy the advantages of reality, and they compensate for the sacrifices you have made. You probably know, from your readings, that the applicants for initiation into the ancient mysteries did not all have the happiness of being initiated. I will usefully remind you of it here. I will teach it to those who might not know it. Admission to the ancient mysteries required superior merit. Above all, it was necessary to show the rarest constancy, a superior strength of body and mind. Such an aspirant had conquered the physical obstacles, which succumbed to the tremors of the soul. Another, constantly victorious, caught a glimpse of the light. He hesitated. He fell back into a deep darkness. Touching on the sanctuary, a third was removed from it for even a slight fault. It was necessary to strip oneself entirely of everything that belonged to weak and fragile humanity. One was not admitted to initiation solely on great courage, solely on a pronounced will. It was necessary to want and to be able. How many men had the will and lacked the strength? How many others had strength and lacked heart? Admitted into the sacred enclosure, the aspirant received initiation, that is to say, the knowledge of all things accessible to the spirit of man. Freemasonry does not demand such high qualities from its neophytes. She has followed the march of time and the progress of knowledge. She doesn't look for flawless men. She wants men with all the strengths of their own, but she wants these forces to be directed by wisdom. Freemasonry can only receive those who have a noble soul, a mind free from prejudice, a generous heart. Love one another, said his beloved disciple after Jesus Christ, and after them this is what we repeat unceasingly to our brothers and to the profane. In this brotherly friendship are philanthropy and philosophy, practice and teaching as sacred to those who listen as to those who profess. There I can end this preparatory instruction. I still have too many useful things to tell you. Like death, which equalizes all ranks, Freemasonry, by removing us from morality, leads to the profane world, makes us forget all vanities, all human distinctions. The Masonic level, this level of nature from which we needlessly want to escape, keeps us incessantly at the same height. The prince and the simple citizen who have become Freemasons sit side by side, united by sweet brotherhood. They are men, they are brothers, they are mortal. How small men are before these great ideas. In our uniform ranks, they learn in advance that in the eyes of the Master of the universe, they are equal. They are nothingness, even when their life has not been marked by the possession and practice of virtues. You must imbibe these principles and follow them faithfully, if we had the mutual happiness of being associated in the greatest work of the human mind, the moral improvement of man. Then more than us, you will not humble yourself before the man in place if he is not virtuous, nor will you be proud before the obscure man, because your social position will have put you above him. Personal dignity is the only one we recognize. We offer, as much as it depends on us, to the man who descends into his heart, disinterested friends, loyal confidants of his thoughts. He finds in our meetings the practice of virtue without ostentation, the humanity that relieves misfortune and consoles the suffering. These sublime things with us may seem of little importance to vulgar men. What do we care? There are other men who know how to hear us, and it is for these good, thoughtful, reasonable men that our temples are established. They find there something useful to occupy their minds and to satisfy the sweet need of their hearts. They are not unaware that the greatest men of antiquity belonged to initiation, as the most distinguished men of modern times belong to Freemasonry. Among the latter, Franklin, Lalande, Voltaire, the genius of his century, were Freemasons. All these men had formed a fair idea of true glory, and it is by a rapid examination of this fine subject that I shall end a speech which will be for you, gentlemen, a first test, since I shall have exercised too long your patience. We do not mean, we Freemasons, the glory by the blood that is spilled on the battlefield. This glory is noble when one defends the sacred soil of the fatherland. This glory is disastrous when love and the delirium of conquests or the cold combinations of politics force us to be their blind and docile instruments. We do not understand glory by the successes of proselytism, by the triumphs of tyranny, by the even legal usurpation of the strong over the weak. We do not yet understand it by the superiority that one can legitimately obtain in the sciences, in letters, in arts, finally in industrial discoveries, whatever they may be. Pure glory, glory without tears, is what we are going to offer to your spirit. When, good sons, you give back to the authors of your days the love and devotion they bore you, when through your weakness they were your only friends, when, estimable citizens, you honorably exercise your state and fulfill all your engagements towards society, when, virtuous husband, you never forget that your wife is the companion that heaven and the laws have given you, when, tender and provident fathers, You watch with continual solicitude for the education and well-being of your children. This, gentlemen, is the glory dear to all well-born hearts. The glory of the Freemason is in the accomplishment of all these duties, and in others still which our august order imposes on its followers, and which I can point out to you in advance. Received Freemason, because I conceived for you the most flattering hope. Attend as regularly as you can our fraternal conferences. Listen in silence to the instructions and maxims of the order. Observe carefully the allegories, the usages of which we make a constant study. Meditate with all the faculties of your mind on the historical documents which the past has bequeathed to us, and which we want with our own history to transmit to the centuries to come. Succession is hereditary. To be descended to a collateral branch, it does not leave the family for that. Thus, direct or collateral heirs of the sages of antiquity, we are legitimate owners, legitimate possessors. Let us be worthy. You, gentlemen, called to this great succession, how good we are, for kindness attracts the confidence which friendship almost always follows. Be patient, for patience subdues the violence of the passions and makes him who knows how to conquer himself esteemed. Be docile to the advice of your leaders, for they have for them the experience which enables them to foresee the future by the knowledge they have of the past. Be industrious and zealous, for work fills all the voids of the mind and drives away the storms of the heart. Above all, be indulgent and charitable, for indulgence is the proof of an enlightened mind and a strong soul, for charity saves from despair the unfortunate who solicits it. It is moreover so to reap, since in misfortune you also find help, and if prosperity never abandons you, your conscience will reward you for all the good you have done. To real gifts you add the power of example. The benevolent man is twice useful to his fellows. You now know, gentlemen, the true glory, which is none other than the morality of the Freemasonic order. This glory, the most useful to men, is that of which the divinity holds us most account. I do not know if, after these essential developments of our principles, these confidences of a premature friendship, you will persist in asking for Masonic initiation. Otherwise, move further away. The temple of wisdom will be closed to you, and its gifts rigorously refused. But if we are not mistaken about your intentions, we will fulfill the precept of the gospel with regard to you, and in your turn, with us or like us, you will open, you will give to whoever, like you, knocks and asks. Since you persist, I leave you to the trials. Gentlemen, courage. We fear, we hesitate, we tremble. We don't die.